hey, it's COVID times, it's 2020, let's go start a business. What did that look like?
Had a buddy doing demo work for houses, and I was like, I need something to do. And I ran into a general contractor that I used to do work with when I worked for other companies. And he's like, hey, I recognize you. So that actually kind of started me saying, hey, I should start working for myself in HVAC. So that's kind of where it started. And I'm just kind of taking it from there.
What did you do so exceptionally well that's caused this growth so quick?
Looking back, it's really networking with the right people, finding the right people that needed the right job done, and then following up with doing what you say you're going to do when you do it, and do a great job.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Superpro podcast, the heartbeat of home service excellence. I'm Roland, the host, also co-founder of House Call Pro. I've been an advocate for all the hardworking pros out there that help make our homes safer, better, more comfortable. Through House Call Pro, I've had the privilege of supporting hundreds of thousands of pros just like you, empowering you guys to achieve more, stress less, and redefine success in our industry. I'm excited today because we have Will Swartz here. He's the owner of State 48 Home Comfort. It's an HVAC company based out of Arizona. They've got 5 trucks on the road, 5 employees, looking to break $2 million this year. And really his story has been a true testament to his resilience, his growth, his perseverance. We asked him a whole bunch of different questions, everything from overcoming some personal struggles to helping build this thriving 7-figure business. So he's got a cool journey. I'm excited to dig in with him. Let's get going. Welcome to the show, Will.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So let's take it back a little bit. State 48 isn't a super old company, but what was kind of the founding story? What were you like, hey, it's COVID times, it's 2020, let's go start a business. What did that look like?
Well, really the reason I started my business was I found drugs and was homeless for a little bit, probably about 10, 12 months. Got clean, been clean 6 years. Thank you, Jesus, for that, for sure. But right then was about the time, 18 is when I got clean. 19 is when I was staying clean and trying to get in the whole habit of changing my life. So 20 came around, had a buddy doing demo work for houses. And I was like, I need something to do. And I ran into a general contractor that I used to do work with when I worked for other companies. And he's like, hey, I recognize you. So that actually kind of started me saying, hey, I should start working for myself in HVAC. So that's kind of where it started. And I'm just kind of taking it from there.
And how did you like learn to build a business, or did you just start really not knowing and you just knew the trade a little bit?
Learn? I didn't realize you could learn how to build a business. Really, I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. I've been blessed. Honestly, God has definitely watched out for me and my family and my business and overall my whole life. So I have been fortunate to meet the right people to help guide me in certain decisions I need to do. And yeah.
And so you got into it. How did you hire your first folks to work for your business? Because you clearly knew the trades, you'd been in the trades, you've got the experience. How did you convince others to kind of join you, and who did you go after? How did you find them? Like, that seems to be the hardest step.
It is. Just like probably most people, I had a buddy help me out as a helper. We do installs together. And honestly, it's another God thing. Honestly, I have had people that I know through other people looking for jobs, and they reach out, and I'm looking for someone, and it's worked out. The guy I've had the least amount of time is 1 year, and the longest guy is 4 years. So I've been very, very, very fortunate with that.
Yeah, and are these folks people that have a trades background and you're training from scratch, or are these people that already have good habits, bad habits, a bunch of experience, and they're kind of coming in and they're more mercenary?
So my helper, my buddy, he had no experience. He was actually doing demo work. So he had some construction experience, but when it came to technical HVAC installs, no experience at all. So I taught him how I want installs to happen, our process and our quality of installs. So he's still with me, and he actually helps teach them. Well, if I had new guys, but when I do have new guys, yeah, he helps show them what needs to get done.
Yeah, and then he's been working with you for a while, so he kind of like knows how to build a framework and kind of repeat and do it the way that you like it done.
Exactly. A lot of times I'll get on a job and he'll say, I told them that you weren't going to like it that way, and I'll get there and I'll inspect it, and I'm like, you're right. So I have him change it, because equipment longevity is all about the install. I'm very big on that. So I make sure our installs are top quality to make sure my customers don't have callbacks. Like, I don't want to see a customer for something that was an install issue when we could have done the job right the first time.
Yeah, and obviously too, if you're under oversizing stuff, you're going to put more stress on equipment. So if you don't do it the right way, just because a customer asks for something, you still need to be the advisor there and kind of step in and make sure they're not, doing something that's just going to cause them more pain in the long run.
Definitely. You'll have a lot more pissed off customers. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And that's how I built my business, is word of mouth, doing a good job, showing up when we say we're going to show up. And that's really how I've gotten to where I've gotten.
Yeah, but you've done it really quick. Like, what do you think are some of those keys? Like, if you were to tell, 2020 Will, hey man, here's the blueprint. Like, what did you do so exceptionally well that's caused this growth so quick?
Whew, that's a very good question. Wow.
Or is it a combination of things? There's no one thing. Like, is it sort of like a little bit of these pieces? What do you think are the kind of the corner pieces?
So it definitely is a combination of different things. It's looking back, it's really networking with the right people. We started doing commercial tenant improvement jobs, like building out restaurants, grease ductwork, walk-ins, all that stuff. And I just met the right people to get into that aspect, and that has helped us grow that aspect of the business as well. So to me, it was the networking, finding the right people that needed the right job done, and then following up with doing what you say you're going to do when you do it, and do a great job.
Yeah, I think the golden nugget you said, and it's kind of quietly, but like it's the biggest golden nugget is like just do what you say you're going to do. Because if you do that, you build trust, and you build word of mouth, you build referrals. And I know you have like the residential side of the business, but it's also very much so in the commercial, the light commercial side of the business, especially because those are even bigger jobs and much more complicated. And those folks know other folks in the same kind of space that are doing what they're doing. So
Absolutely.
Those ones are a key to unlocking some of those bigger jobs.
Definitely. But I will say, the key to start getting in those big jobs as a small company is to make sure you have a piggy bank. Make sure you have money saved up for not if, but when those contractors don't pay you like they're supposed to, you're not struggling. That's some of the best advice that I received, and some of the best advice I could give someone wanting to get into that aspect of the business. Yeah, the tickets are bigger. It's a lot of money, but last year, couple different jobs, GCs didn't pay us probably close to $250,000. And it's been a struggle because I didn't take my own advice and save up that nest egg. I just saw, we can make some money, keep the guys working. And that's really bit me in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, look, cash flow is still really important to keep note of. And when you're doing these larger jobs, oftentimes it'll be like net 30, net 60, net 90, or sometimes even longer, which is different from a lot of residential jobs where usually you'll get paid, as soon as you're done, right? Or within a week or what have you.
Right.
So you're
That's actually this year I'm starting to focus more on residential as in try to get away from the commercial stuff.
That's right. And so from a process perspective, like what advice would you give people? Like, how do you collect on that $250,000? Like, do you write it off completely? Because you've already paid your guys, they've already had gotten their paychecks and everything for these jobs. Like, how do you handle that?
Man, handled it by hitting the pavement harder, honestly. I've realized with those contractors, I'm not going to get paid. Talked to lawyers. They said, yeah, we can spend money. You can spend more money that you don't have to go after them, but they're probably going to file bankruptcy. I wasn't smart enough to do pre-liens on these jobs either. So that is also an issue. But then the GC, there's a way they can bond around the lien. So it's almost like, what the heck? It's all those little fine things that you don't know about when you get into stuff like that you have to learn the hard way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's another golden nugget within itself, which is like there's no easy money, there's no easy way for any of the things, and they all come with like all kinds of gotchas that you only way maybe you learn is either by listening to the podcast, listening to Will, or like the school of hard knocks, where like it's gonna happen to you, and you're gonna be out, a bunch of payroll for a bunch of time because you just can't collect on it. And like you said. You even try to go after something where there is nothing, and then what do you end up with? A bunch of nothing, and you're still down even more money. So
exactly,
that's really tough. Yeah,
right.
That's tough. But it sounds like you had enough on the residential side as well that you can kind of like keep the ball rolling, keep the money kind of coming in from a cash flow perspective to keep your head above water.
Yeah, absolutely. That and I'm definitely glad my wife is great with money. Like I really feel like that's the only way I'm able to keep going is because she's taking care of stuff at the house while I have been trying to focus on the business and get that going. So that yeah, amen for a great wife. Tell you that.
That's a great golden nugget. Have a great partner that supports you and is stronger where you're weak. Because that's a great way to build a partnership. Tell me a little bit about, what do you think are the biggest challenges now that you're going to have to break through in order to hit your $2 million goal? Like, what's going to happen this year that's going to really set you up for hitting that goal?
So I've realized I've relied on the word of mouth. It's gotten us 40% growth since I started every year. So it's kind of like, whoa. There's only so far that can go if I want to continue to be a household name company. Some of the challenges, definitely marketing. I as a small business, and one thing about Arizona, it's a 48 state, as you can, state 48. It sounds like a great name, but there's like 4 or 5 other guys that thought State 48 would be a great company name in the HVAC world. So, yeah. So I realized that I need to do things way different than them, way different than a lot of other people. Marketing more than I ever have before. Door hangers on every house whenever we do an install, hit up that whole block. Have my kids hit up our neighborhood. Like, there's just so much more that I need to do to break that $2 million mark.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, sometimes, what got you to a place isn't what's going to get you to that next level. So it's a combination of new things, like Will is kind of mentioning, that he's going to have to come up with in his business to get him past there, because doing more of the same, you might have relied on it for 40% of your growth, year over year historically. But at a certain point, that might either not necessarily cap out, but like you have to diversify those channels a little bit more, not just from you want to be safe from like risky things that might happen, but more so you need extra channels for growth.
Absolutely.
And that sounds like you're already thinking about that before it even kind of hits.
Yeah. Go ahead.
If you had a thought, share, and then I'll jump in.
No, I was going to say, that this is honestly, for me, this is the time of year that I start gearing up more marketing to get ready for summertime. That always seems to be right now, January, February, March, start getting your name out. At least for me, I've done a bunch of Facebook specials. I run a $8,500 for a 5-ton package train unit. That has gotten me a lot of work, just because one aspect of that, people are switching to online buying, even with air conditioning. They want to see, I've realized with doing these Facebook ads, they want to see the price before they even give you a call. So I've gotten a lot of work doing some Facebook ads showing pricing. Granted, I haven't sold those. I've, of course, said, hey, I have this unit for this, but what if we were to do this, this, and this, and then it gets us bigger tickets? It opens that door for more sales.
So walk me through how that works, because I think a lot of people are like, wait, well, is that bait and switch? Or would you really offer that, but you're just coming in, establishing trust, and then kind of going in a different direction? Because not everyone needs a 5-ton,
well, here in Arizona,
right?
Arizona's a little different.
Right.
You know, 5 tons are, yeah.
Yeah, you got real heat. You got real heat there. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That makes sense. But
I definitely make sure that I don't do bait and switch. Like if people reach out to me and they say, hey, I have a question about this. My first question is your unit on the roof or is it on the ground? And if they say it's on the ground, then I say, okay, well, I just want to be upfront with you. These are 4 units that go on the roof. But I do have great pricing for your split systems. And that has, that has helped. Because I am, like, it's my company, my name. Last thing I want is someone thinking that I'm trying to get one over on them, bait and switch them, like that's just not how I do business.
Yeah. And I think that's a great golden nugget here is like, what's happening here is there is a deal that is offered at that price, but it's not going to necessarily be the right deal for all the people, but they don't know that. And so you're kind of coming in and going like, look, Will, tell me more about your house. Like you just said, is it going to be on the roof? Is it going to be on the ground? Are you doing like room by room variable control? Are you doing mini splits? Like what are you thinking? And so it really turned into a much different conversation. It's not that thing doesn't exist. It does, but it might just not be the right fit. And so that's okay. Then and you got to still go through the normal steps, but at least you've got that lead, you've got that conversation, you probably have that ear of that customer, and now they're feeling like, okay, no, yeah, you're right, maybe I should do something different.
Yep, and that's exactly what's happened. It's been great.
Yeah, and I think you can also qualify the types of homeowners that you get based on the ads that you run too, depending on what you're trying to like front load or back load in the beginning of the season or mid season or not, because obviously you're able to price things a little differently when it's 110 degrees in Arizona versus right now shoulder season where it's like temperate and you can I don't know, but I don't think people are running their AC too much yet. Maybe if
they're already starting. I mean, it's what was the temperature today? I mean, it's 75 in February. Right. So, I mean, people are inside your house. It gets a little bit warmer,
Yeah. So we'll start to run it soon, too. So, but I think right now it's still like, what do you call it? Like vitamin mode. Like it doesn't need to be painkiller mode quite yet. But in I don't know, a couple months or a month from now, they're going to need it quick.
Right.
Tell me a little bit, like at what point of your process did you go like, okay, now I need someone like House Call Pro to kind of help me get to that next level? What was that like thought process? How did that kind of come about, and how did you find House Call Pro?
I actually started utilizing you guys in May of this year, I believe it was. I was using Invoice Simple, which when it was just me and a helper, it was a great thing because I could write up the invoice, send it out. But as soon as I started having employees that would run service calls themselves, I realized like, I need to give them the power to write the invoice in the field, bill out, because when I was doing it by myself, I know I left money on the table. I know there are invoices that I didn't send out to people or my guys didn't tell me about them, So House Call Pros helped me keep track of that. It's helped the guys bill out, write the invoice in the field. On residential, get paid the same time. And then the whole reviews, sends out a review right when we hit finish. I went from like 1 or 2 reviews. I think we have like 65 now.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like that has definitely helped. Also helped when people do AC repair near me or AC company by me. Our name is starting, if they're around where our office is.
Yeah, it'll start to pop up.
Exactly. And it's just like, okay, this is great. Like you got my name from Google. Like you're a random person and you called us. Like there's 500, at least 500 different companies you could have called, So
totally.
I also look at that too. When somebody calls us, I take pride in that because we're in the Valley. There are so many other companies out here. So, it's like, whoa, this is cool.
Yeah. So you went from using a tool like Invoice Simple to something that has like way more stuff, and you're using a ton of the different features inside of House Call Pro. And I think a lot of companies they sometimes struggle because they're like, what do I start with? There's so many different things, the consumer financing, there's the profit rhino, there's House Call Bros this, there's like all these different things. Like, how did you do everything all at once? Did you kind of like do one and the other and the other? Like,
Well,
how did you think about that?
it was, well, for me, it was more when I was doing the invoice simple, I was trying to figure out, do pricing, get your price plus tax, mark it up. I don't know. I think I was doing like 35%, which really in reality isn't really that much money. So, as I'm growing, I'm realizing I'm leaving money on the table. I'm not filling out invoice. I'm not invoicing every customer like I should. My profit margin, because I don't know anything about a price book or anything. So it was one of those things like, okay, this makes sense. I can have a price book, which will help me increase my ticket average, which it definitely has. I went like with the old invoice system, it was like $300, $350 a ticket average. I just looked recently, we're at like $1,100 a ticket average. So it's like,
well, so you almost triple. Yeah. I mean, like, holy crap.
Yeah. So it's like, holy cow, I was leaving so much money on the table.
Wow. That's huge. And so, when you're out there giving those like sales proposals, are you doing good, better, best? Like, what's your methodology?
Absolutely. I'm actually giving kind of 4 options. Like
four.
Yeah. So basically I do a basic install, like for that package unit. I do a package unit with the elbow, basic thermostat, $8,500. Then I'll give them a second option, that same unit. Then let's throw in some ductwork, maybe registers, maybe an upgraded thermostat. And then third option, a different SEER unit, same options as the upgraded one, and then like a variable speed option. So, you have the variable speed option that's high. Most people, like 2%, 5% or whatever it is, go for that very high option. They're just like, ooh, it's the best, let's do it. Not a lot of people want to go for just a basic option because it's the cheapest. So it gives them, a couple more options to say, hey, okay, this is what we got.
Yeah, I like how you like triangulate that, and kind of get them both optically, but also like if they want to pick the top end, they can. Most people,
I'd be more than happy to sell them that,
Yeah, that's right. But if you don't offer it, you're never going to get it. And I think that's where a lot of pros and contractors kind of go wrong, because they're like, well, no one's going to pick it. Well, who are you to decide? Like, you might not know anything about that homeowner, so don't decide for them. Let them decide.
And that's actually how I explain it to people. It's like, hey, I want to give you your options. I'm not sure what you can afford or what you can't afford, but these are the systems that I can stand behind. I know they're great systems. I know I won't have to see you in 6 months because of a leaky coil. Here you go.
Yeah. And so you're using financing from House Call Pro 2, which I think kind of adds another layer into the presentation, which is, they're not having to foot, a 15K bill, a 10K bill, all up front, even if they might want it.
Right. I've actually, with using the financing, people have used it when I didn't think they would. Just for a simple $800 repair, they did the financing. I was just like, oh, okay. And what's nice about it is the 3.9% rate is just like a credit card. So it doesn't really, and it's actually cheaper if you don't use the instant pay option, So it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then you get paid in a day or two, and it's like, all right, that works. So it's like having the financing there, people seeing it, it gets the ball rolling. Like, well, I don't have $12,000 for a unit, but I do have $190 a month.
That's right.
So it definitely helped people's minds say, okay, I can maybe afford this when I didn't think I could.
Yeah. What's like, obviously that's all at the bottom of the funnel, which is like, you got the customer, you're at their house, you give them the estimate, they've gone ahead with that, they've, picked the financing. Talk to me about how you manage your phones, who's answering the phone calls, and how do you think about that from a business owner's perspective?
Well, when I started using you guys in May, I was answering the phones. we got super busy this summer. Like, I really wanted to throw my phone. It's like you answer it, you hang up, try to do something. Because I still try to be out in the field. Like, I love fixing stuff. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to be in the office, even though I know that's where I need to be. Mm-hmm. So when I'm out in the field fixing stuff and answering the phones and hanging up just to like get my screwdriver to do something else, and then the phone rings again, it's like, okay, I can't do this. So I started utilizing House Call Pro Assist. They answer all my calls, not just a backup. They answer them all. It's been great. It works out for us. They schedule the guys. They're able to see who's available, and I've kind of put like order of who they need to go, order of who House Call Pro Assist needs to send the guys or schedule the guys. So it has worked out for us. It's been great. I've been able to get more work done, which has been awesome. Also helps if I get some of those scam calls. Don't need
sure.
back, you know?
Yeah. You're not wasting your time on calls that, either solicitations or people from who knows where that's like, I've got a vacation home in Arizona. Will you take a payment in advance on a funky credit card and head out there? And then you're like, probably not. Yeah, sounds too good to be true. Sounds too good to be true. Yeah. Right?
It usually is. Not usually, it always is.
Yeah, it always is. This has been awesome. So many good golden nuggets here. Is there one piece of advice you'd give, younger Will or someone else that's just starting off their business, kind of like you were 4 years ago? You've grown so quick. You're going to hit $2 million this year. What piece of advice would you leave out there for kind of the audience of listeners today to listen to?
I don't know what you said. It froze on me pretty good this time.
All good. What piece of advice would you give your younger self? What would you give young Will looking to get into the business, grow their business at the speed you have?
Don't do it. Run. Just kidding. Advice: don't go after those big jobs thinking it's easy money. Like, stick with what you know. Stick with what you know. Save more money before you decide to do those big jobs. I mean, it's cool to say, yeah, I did a couple of grow facilities, but if you don't get paid by them, like, what's the point of, what's the point? So definitely save more money. Get my wife involved sooner with helping everything.
Yeah, like, seriously. That's good advice. Totally.
Like, when I brought her on board, she helped things run a lot smoother, like billing out commercial clients and scheduling all that stuff and paying the bills and making sure we don't not miss anything, So
Definitely. I mean, those are some great golden nuggets. One is don't bite off more than you can chew, thinking that you're going to always win it. So it's too good to be true. It probably is. And then get your partner, get your spouse involved, because where you're weak, someone else might be strong, whether it's your partner, business partner, wife. That's always really good advice. Will, if people want to reach out to you or find you online, where can they find you?
I got a Facebook page, State 48HC. We have our website, www.state48hc.com. I think we're on Instagram. I think it's State 48HC. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, that's where you can find us.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Will, for sharing kind of all your knowledge with the audience today. If you want to reach out to Will, or you're like his story resonated with you, or you want some tips from him, or you just want to pick his brain, feel free to reach out to him. Don't be a stranger. We're all a community of pros. And for everybody that's listening today, tune in next week for another edition of the Superpro podcast. Will, thank you again so much for coming on. That was awesome.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. This has been awesome. If I can help anybody else not make the mistakes I've made, or anything, I look at this industry as I'm here to educate my customers, and if I can help anybody else, that's what I'm here for.
I love that attitude. All right, guys. Thanks so much. See y'all next week.
The Superpro podcast is brought to you by House Call Pro, the leading platform for the home service industry. House Call Pro streamlines your workflows and simplifies everything from scheduling and dispatching to communication and billing. Unlock the full potential of your home service business with House Call Pro. Work smarter and more efficiently with streamlined workflows and detailed analytics. Win more business and serve your customers well, every single time. Join more than 40,000 home service pros who have already revolutionized their businesses. Work smarter with streamlined workflows, get organized with centralized information, and scale your business your way. Learn more at housecallpro.com.